Welcome to another episode of In Case You Missed It with Christina Williams. And this week's guest is a Minnesota Lynx forward. Please welcome to the show, Dorka Juhasz. Dorka, welcome to In Case You Missed It.
Thank you so much for having me. Hi, everybody.
Yeah, thank you for joining us. You're still working towards your first game of the 2026 season with the Lynx. Can you just give a little bit of an update? How's the process going with revamping? How are you feeling?
As for coming back, I was super excited to be back. It's nice to be back in Minnesota, especially after missing a year. Unfortunately, yeah, with the injury, it's a little bit tough. Just kind of the waiting around period time and coming from another season, just being injured. And it's always hard to join a team, especially just not ready, like not being ready to play right away. So it's definitely been mentally tough, physically tough to kind of work my way back there, especially kind of like ending up on such a high season to, just that excitement is still just has to wait a little bit. But, I'm doing better and better. It's definitely a tough process. Foot injuries are always something that is not really easy. It's a lot of pain, a lot of working through some uncomfortable stuff, but, doing my best. And I have a great super staff here and, we're just working on it every day. So I'm just super excited to finally have that first game.
There's so much to unpack with what you just said. The first thing that you said was you took a year off from Minnesota. And how important was that for your career?
I think it was just something that like it wasn't really decided, before or like after the finals run. It was just something that as a European player, obviously I'm playing all year round, right? So I represent my country in the national team. So no breaks during even like the European season, doing the European season, coming to the WNBA season. So it's been just something where I felt like I really needed a break at some point, mentally, physically. Just, your body tells you whenever you start having some nagging injuries and you're like, okay, like I think I need a break. It's since I think I'm like 14 years old, every summer I have something. I always have national team, then coming to college, summer workouts, national team. And I just felt like, my body kind of and my mind told me to stop. It just became at that time that it was just the WNBA season right in front of me. So it was definitely a tough decision. But I felt like in that moment, I had to kind of prioritize myself and kind of look at my career long term. Just not always being running from season to season, then being late the start of the season here, being late start of the season in Europe, then doing the national team. I just wanted to really, give myself a chance to rest a little bit, spend some time with the family, just kind of take care of everything mentally, physically, and give myself a chance to kind of let me see how I can perform once I'm fully rested. I'm ready to go and just hungry to be back on the court. So that was kind of what was going back at that time in my head. And just, it just became the WNBA season and kind of took a chance, a risk, but also a chance. And it worked out pretty well this past season. So looking back, it was the right decision. But yeah, and I'm just happy to have another chance and coming back to the Lynx and those hopes of winning the WNBA championships still on, and I'm just excited to be back.
I think it's so important that you were able to recognize like when you needed to take a step back and refuel yourself. And we're going to get into the EuroLeague MVP season a little bit later, but you mentioned that it definitely paid off for you. But mirroring back to you revamping for the 2026 season, in a sense, you said that, it was taking a toll mentally on you because you want to be back on the court. How are you dealing with that now with taking care of yourself as you ramp up to get back this season?
Yeah, I mean, doing everything I can, obviously physically, just doing the PT, the rehab, the basketball. I think I'm being taken care of very well. So everything is planned out, but it's also, as you mentioned, you have to take care of your mental. So working with mental coaches, sports psych, just to make sure to stay on top of that because it's, as much as it's obviously, hopefully, it wasn't a long injury that is in terms of like season ending injury and having to sit out for a long time is still something that is not something I ever experienced before. I had some couple of injuries where it's like, okay, you can push through, you can tape up an ankle if it's rolled, but with the foot injuries a little bit, it's kind of you have to be patient. You have to be really making sure you're taking the right steps, even if you feel a little bit, all right, I want to do and try some stuff out, just making sure you don't rush into things to kind of cause more harm. So it's definitely an injury where like I'm tested a little bit, my patient is tested a little bit, and just kind of the eager to be back. It's been tough, but definitely making sure I'm taking all the steps and taking care of my mental side as much as the physical side has been huge. And just having a great team, just supportive teammates, coaches around me, has been really, really good. And also, obviously, knowing Minnesota a little bit, it's not my first time here. It was also helpful. So yeah, so just day by day, trying to stack up these days, these harder days, easier days, and hopefully soon I can be on the court again.
What has it been like these last few weeks to watch the game and observe the game?
Yeah, it's been super fun. Honestly, it's been in a fun group to watch in practice. But then once we kind of started the season, like the first game of the season, you're always like kind of just trying to figure out, like, okay, like there's a lot of new players. It's not like the past years when we had the same roster pretty much. So it was exciting to see those first games. And, there's a couple losses that got into that, but it's just there was just so much, like, I don't know, potential and positivity in that group that I was like, even when we lost those games, like close games, I was like, okay, like we're actually pretty good. We're like getting better and better, and it's just exciting to see all these like new players also just playing together for the first time, and just kind of figuring out as they go. And obviously having, Liv as a point guard has been so much fun to watch her kind of just serving dishes and just helping everybody go, and getting people in the positions to be successful and get some easy buckets. So just a fun group, lots of great veteran players, young core as well, a lot of Europeans as well. So it's a fun mix, it's good to see. So I'm really excited to see how this team can evolve and grow. Obviously, there's a lot of work that still has to be done, and just excited to have the team back, the full team, everybody healthy, and see how it's going to look like and how far we can go this season.
When you finally get back on the court this season, what do you hope your game looks like within this system?
Yeah, I mean, I think the system is pretty much the same as we've been playing. I think Minnesota basketball just has such a unique system, a lot of freedom of doing things within like structure. So just kind of what I'm doing also in Europe and wherever I'm playing, kind of just using my versatility. Hopefully, it fits in there. Playing, with great players around me, kind of just figuring out like what my role will be in this team. Just hoping to use both inside and my outside game as well. But yeah, other than that, just having fun playing basketball, and kind of seeing like how I can mesh with the players and create that chemistry on the court as well. So I'm just excited. I really, obviously playing in Europe, it's a different type of basketball. Playing a national team, a different type of basketball, what they want from me also in Europe in my Euroleague team. And then obviously here it's going to be also like something different. I'm just excited to see like this style of basketball kind of getting back to the rhythm, the pace of the game. And yeah, I'm excited. Hopefully, everything is going to be well health wise. And then I can just really focus on enjoying and playing the game, and, winning some games and having fun with the girls.
You mentioned versatility, and so much has evolved for the bigs in women's basketball, and your game sort of embodies that evolution of the game. But you also get to learn from someone like a Rebecca Brunson, who has been able to win at the highest level, one of the greatest bigs in WNBA history. What has it been like to be able to have a all-star coaching staff where you get to learn from some of the best in the game, but also to play with alongside one of the best in the game and Nafisa Collier?
Yeah, I mean, it's been awesome. Just going, obviously when you go to Target Center and you look at the banners, and obviously having BB there as well, and now like she's being one of our coaches, obviously Lindsay Valen too, but everybody is just such a strong culture and winning culture, I think, within those coaches. And also it's something that I think they're teaching to us as well, with the Coach Reeve just kind of, this is the winning culture that we want to create. So it's been so much fun to learn from them. Obviously, just hearing the history whenever we play some games and just them sharing their experiences and how excited they are to be back, even though they're not stepping on the court, just kind of like, this is one of my favorite places to play in, and talk about like back in the day with the finals. I think it's so much fun to hear that, especially as, people that are, we're coming in like young players, and it's so much fun, but also just playing with Fee, obviously, who's already achieved so much in her career, and just being great every single day and kind of learning from her and how she, I remember just being back in my rookie year, and I got one text from Chris Daly, my assistant coach from UConn, and she was like, just make sure like you watch everything that Fee does, whatever pace she's going with, whatever like, little details that she's doing every drill with, like make sure that you follow her and, learn from her. And because, you know how she's doing it every single practice, she's going to make sure that she's doing the best job that she can, just play with so much pace and competitiveness. So it's been great to have her and just kind of also learning from her every single day in practice. Now we're obviously both injured, so it's something a little bit different, but it's still kind of just going through that together. So it's been so much fun, and there's a lot to learn from, you know, the Minnesota Lynx in general, from staff members to players.
I want to talk about your EuroLeague season because you've had one of the greatest seasons of your career. You were named the youngest MVP in EuroLeague history. Let's take a look back at that season for you. What do you think elevated your game to that next level?
Yeah, I think obviously it started with that decision, just kind of taking that rest, focusing a little bit on my body, just even though, a strength piece also, but as individual, just do some work in areas that I wanted to work on. But also, it's really, I think, underrated to kind of, be there from the start when it comes to like a season. Like I was there from the beginning of the preparation, kind of just that piece of like, let's figure out the roles, let's figure out like who we can build on. And kind of there was that opportunity to kind of step up in that. I think that leadership role, and is something that I think needed in my career to kind of like, okay, like it's there, you have to go take it. And I think slowly, like obviously the teammates around me started to trust me, the coaches, and I was really in a situation when I was able to be myself. You know, go inside, play inside game, go outside, just kind of just use everything that I can, and being supported by my teammates and trusted, and they were really trusting me. So I think it was just a combination of all of it, and that confidence was something that just kept building game by game and practice by practice. And obviously there was great players around me as well that play really really well. So many nationalities and just different style of basketballs, and it was a really fun season. I think I have so much fun playing basketball in general, and also I think the little breaks, as I said, with the national team really helped me, because that's a completely different look. It's even more of a leadership role that I have to step in for my country. So all of that together, I think just something that altogether helped me to have this career season so far. And yeah, so I think just, taking a bet and just, choosing myself, and kind of that confidence kept building. And it was really fun. It was not how I wanted to end with the injury, but overall, I think it was a great season. Just something to like build on and learn from and appreciate and being grateful for. So.
Yeah, certainly something to be proud of, being able to make history in that way. When you think about the EuroLeague, and you mentioned it helped you become a better leader, how have you grown?
Yeah, I mean, a number one, I think just being more vocal is something that, especially as a international European player coming to the States, it was something that I also was not as comfortable before coming to college, and just the language barrier, and just kind of getting out of that. But also here, you go into a different country playing overseas, and it's not the main language that you use, but it's kind of like that English is a common language. And then kind of just being opening up, having a great people around you, just feeling that like confidence to hold people accountable, but also for them to hold you accountable. So that, I think that was super important to kind of vocally take a step forward, but also just kind of I'm a big believer in like you walk it out, you talk it. So just every single practice, just making sure, like, just to compete. I'm very competitive. I love to win. I don't like to lose. So it's just something that, like, that mindset of like getting better, making sure like I'm showing it on the court and kind of, you know, doing that leadership as well. So, just taking on those moments, just kind of putting myself into uncomfortable moments, wherever like they were leaning on me and I had to make a play or something. So think it was like just stacking up these little wins, personally, into that like leadership role. And then, again, I think the national team is something that really obviously helps as well. And just the success this year with making it to the World Cup, also something that really, was special to me. And I think, that gave me confidence. I think that confidence is always like built up like this with the little wins. So, overall, I think it was just, something great that like it happened like this, and just took a choice of also going to a new team, before I was playing 2 years in the same team in Italy. And I like to always play in, I always like, coming to college, like you're very very loyal, like you want to build something. So it was like, obviously a decision also to go to a completely different country, try out something new with a EuroLeague qualifier team who I was even supposed to be guaranteed in EuroLeague to go to the EuroLeague finals. So, it was definitely a building year, and a lot of fun memories with it.
So many nuggets. Sometimes you do have to change things up a little bit to reach your full potential, and you did exactly that in Italy overseas. Your journey within professional basketball hasn't been like a straight path. One thing that I learned about you, that I totally admire, was on draft night, your pride from where you're from. You're Hungarian, and you take great pride in letting people know where you're from. And you just mentioned the national team pride as well. Take me back to those earlier years. What was it like? What do you remember about, just falling in love with the game of basketball?
Yeah. Well, I started back in Page, Hungary, so a smaller town. My mom used to be a basketball player as well, professional basketball player. So that's how I kind of got introduced to basketball. Not seeing her play, in person anymore, unfortunately, but just her taking me to a lot of women's basketball games in my city, and it was just such a big deal there. There were other sports teams as well, men's basketball as well, but I just felt like that women's basketball was such a huge deal whenever my mom used to play there. They won championship, like the whole city was full of like fans supporting them, celebrating the championships. And I've seen so many videos and pictures of that, and just kind of going in person to see that support for the team. I think it was something like special for me, as just like, wow, like there's so many people like supporting and believing and loving women's basketball. So I had a ball in my hand like since I was a little kid. But I really knew always that I wanted to be like my mom. I wanted to play basketball. I've tried some other sports. I remember I was swimming. I did like, some rhythmic dancing. I tried a lot of different things, but I just felt like it was always basketball for me. I felt myself there. I was super passionate about it, and I really wanted to be like my mom and, achieve what she did and more. So I just had a huge motivation and like a great role model to start with, and that's kind of where I started. And I was there until I was 18 and left for college. So, everything started there. So that's why, as you said, like I'm just proud that even whenever we met at the draft night, like that was just like a wow moment, because when I was younger, kind of like these thoughts were like just big far dreams to even play in the WNBA. It's not something that like in my country was so, um popular. With the time difference, it's not easy to catch a game either. I remember I was trying to find little links to kind of watch whenever I was younger. And also I've seen some of the WNBA players come over playing Europe, playing them, seeing them playing against them when I was like 17. So it was just something like a big dream. So whenever that happened and it became reality, then you kind of think back of like, okay, where you started and what were your aspirations and big dreams and where you are. So always gonna be proud of that. And but yeah, without my mom, I probably wouldn't be playing basketball. So definitely, she was the number one reason I started it.
Absolutely. If you can see it, you can be it. You did mention that you played against some WNBA players when you were 17. I'm curious, who did you play against? And is there one story or experience that sticks out to you about those early days before you came over to the US for college?
Yeah, I think one of the first ones that like I remember playing just and voters was one of them that my mom used to play against as obviously European but WNBA star as well, and also I remember Chelsea Gray. Just playing in my city. I think I also had like this picture of us like guarding each other. I don't know how we were guarding, how I was guarding her in that position. But just like a lot of players, and you see, and Ellie Quigley used to play obviously for Hungary, and also Courtney Vandersloot and in my hometown. So I got to meet them. Got to meet these idols in person. I remember being one of those little kids like holding Ellie's hand, kind of like running into like before the game. It's and having that picture that my mom we always talked about. So just little moments like this that is like wow, like and then you come to the WNB and kind of like experiencing this. So it's really fun, and just looking back at it, those pictures just being 16, 17 to kind of like okay, like now you're playing in the WNBA. So really full circle move.
Guarding Chelsea Gray must have been tough.
I bet. I don't have the full recall of those moments, but obviously playing against her now, it's it's a tough task at hand. So, but I remember just being super excited to, just even stop at like international competitions and play against like, those some of the best players. So much fun memories, and it's something really cool to think back on.
Keeping with your journey at 18, you said you came to the US to play in college. I know that you went to Ohio State, but I really want to get to the UConn moment. How did it come about for you to transfer over to UConn? What's the story behind it?
Yeah, I mean, I think, I had a great 3 years. I just came back from an ACL injury. So I definitely wanted to play and just get the experience of college. So I think, going to Ohio State was great. I was able to get my, degree in psychology in 3 years. So that was kind of the turning moment for me that, obviously I wanted to play in the NCAA tournament. I wanted to win. But also that was kind of like the turning point for me that, okay, I have like my degree, and now like can I use that 2 extra years because of COVID year to get like where I want to be basketball wise and just compete at the highest level in college, or just go professional at that after 3 years and trying to see the draft and go back to Euro playing Europe as well. So I think once I hit the transfer portal, I was like, let me see my options. And, there were great options, a lot of great schools and big schools that I could have went to. But I remember just kind of receiving a text and a call from Coach Ariema, and we were talking about, I don't know, for like an hour, and I was somewhere already after school, vacationing, and I just remember just talking and talking and talking about just, not necessarily what are the expectations for me if I go there, but more just in general, like about basketball, what they stand for and how I can fit into it. Like it was nothing promised about you're gonna play, you're gonna be a starter, we're gonna make you like this or that. But, I just remember him like, well, I'm gonna give you everything to prepare to be a professional basketball player. And like, this is what we do. That's what we're teaching. We're gonna give you a chance to prove that you are a WNBA player and you're ready for that. And just, win also win an NCAA championship. So I think that's all I had to hear. I think I just kind of won that why they want me there. They see something in me, they see potential in me. They're excited to coach me, but also just that they're gonna, give me all the tools to take that and become a professional basketball player and have that potential dream of being in the WNBA. So I was sold. I think after that, I was like, I didn't even go anymore to kind of take, visits to see the campus. Like there, I don't know. I was just like, I just know I want to go there. I want to give it a try. I was just logged in from then. So I think pretty much after that, like a couple of days after I signed. So that's all I had to hear. And, I love to work. I'm competitive. I know there's going to be competition at my position. It's not going to be something that's going to be handed to me. So it was great. And it turned out to be a great 2 years at UConn. And so, yeah, it's a lot of great memories from there as well.
I had read that Nika Mule was also a part of that story. She
Yeah.
convinced you? Did she convince you?
She didn't need to convince me because I remember, and it was like 3 years ago. We were just joking about it because when I was at Ohio State, I was like texting her. I said, "You want to come play with me?" I was the one that was kind of like, "Okay, let me recruit her." Having another European, I think we're gonna have so much fun. Come here. And then she signed to UConn. Obviously, we've been following each other. We know each other. We were supporting each other. But then like it turned around and she was like, "All right, you want to come play with me?" I was like, fine. Like it's not like you won and you recruited me. It's not like that. But yeah, I'm coming. So it was just fun because we were looking back at our DMs and we were like, oh, funny how like times changed now. But yeah, it was a great moment with her too.
So you go to UConn and it prepares you for your next level of your career, which was being drafted into the WNBA. What was draft night like, hearing your name called?
I mean, it was amazing. I think it was definitely stressful. I think you don't, when you're kind of like trying to figure out like that kind of the waiting period of like, okay, where are you gonna end up and all of that. Just once I finally knew where I'm going, I was like, just kind of like, I was breathing. I was like, okay, like that's my new home. That's where I'm gonna go, and here are the next steps. But just general, like just how I was feeling, I was super proud and excited. Even whenever I got the call to be invited. Just being there in person as a Hungarian player again, just going back to that, like it was such a big thing for me, but also just representing my country and all the kids and they were able to watch it, and even though it was later, like they made sure that they were streaming that even the next day to see that in person. So it was like it was more than just for me to be drafted and everything. So I kind of was like, after I got drafted, got through the whole night, just had that moment of like, let me just sit down, kind of look back at it and kind of appreciate it to be there, just that moment of my career. Like that night I really took some time to kind of just appreciate being grateful for that. And then the next day we were already flying out to Minnesota, so it was like, let's go. Like now it's like, how do I make the team? So it was definitely a big switch, but I was just so grateful to like kind of going through that process because obviously it's fun, you choose the dress and everything like that kind of big moment, but also just once you kind of hear your name and then you're like, okay, I'm drafted. Like it's really became true. Like this was one of the goals once I was in UConn to, be able to be in those players that are going to be drafted and invited and just experience that. It was just really special. So yeah, I was just trying to take it in and enjoy it in the moment. Having there my agent, who's also Hungarian, so kind of just having obviously Coach Ariam and my coaches around me, teammates back watching me. It was just a special day, special days before that as well, learning about the WNBA and what we can expect. But that night was really special. And then after that, like as I said, we were already just coming here in Minnesota, meeting the fans, like being introduced as draftees. So it was just like a quick turnaround and back really just going into reality.
You mentioned the getting dressed part, and I remember you had that black gown on, and your draft class, hands down, sort of set the tone with how draftees need to show up on draft day in terms of a high fashions. What did it take to put that look together?
But yeah, I mean, it was really last moment because I felt like whenever we ended up, are like I think some players probably expected to be drafted, so there's more time. For me, I was just like, I didn't have expectation to be invited or anything, so it was just maybe I had 5-6 days to find a dress, or so I wasn't even like customizing anything. I just remember like telling my agents and my support group, I was like, I just want to be classy. I need something simple. Like I really wanted to keep that like high fashion but elegant. So we did end up with this long black Versace dress that I was like, this is perfect. This is what I want. Little sparkles with the heels and everything. But the process was like, it was really last second out. I just remember like going through some option. I was like, that's the one. Like, I just want to keep it simple but elegant. And I think that Versace dress was perfect. But it was just funny because like my whole agency, everybody was running around in New York getting me jewelry, shoes, and obviously as a tall woman, just like having my size in heels, like it's not the easiest job last minute. So it was a complete teamwork, and I think it turned out great. I was really happy and confident in that outfit, but just love fashion in general. So I think it was really, as you said, like that class was really putting a show on. And after that, every single year, it's been fun to watch, the pictures and the preparation for it. I love this fashion piece, like this piece of it. And yeah, so it was super fun.
Finding a Versace dress in New York City in 5 days is absolute skill, so shout out to your team. I want to follow up with obviously, we talked about the draft and your journey into the WNBA. One thing that stands out to me this season is the influx of international players now committing to the WNBA, even over some of their national teams and over some of their teams overseas. Commissioner Kathy Engelbert said that this season there's about 30% international players that make up WNBA rosters across the league. What does that say about, where the game is going and, international players committing to playing in the WNBA?
Yeah, I mean, it's awesome. I think just remembering my rookie year, like there wasn't many players. I think I always had at least one international player on my team, but it wasn't something that was, maybe as accessible to also the international players. I think now, as the league is growing, as, there was negotiations about the money, there's more teams coming in, more opportunities. Also, just knowing for us, Minnesota Lynx, we have an international scout. So, just how like
Shout out to Rachel. I know
yes,
Rachel.
we love Rachel. So this I think it's so important. I think also because there's so many talents in Europe that maybe sometimes wouldn't have the chance to be seen as much. Now, obviously, with like having internet highlights and stuff, it's a little bit easier. But now, there's more opportunity as well as to come over to fight for your spot and represent your country in the WNBA. And I think just in general, I think the game is growing a lot also in Europe. Just the national teams, a lot of more national teams coming up, a lot more talent are coming out. So I think it's great that it's one term. Obviously, Europeans are committing to come over and not having the off season, but it's also I think they're giving more an opportunity to be seen and scouted, and also just the agents connecting the WNBA coaches to the players. So I'm super happy. It's so great to see so many players having a chance and making the teams and playing well and competing at the highest level. And I'm also excited to see how this is going to translate into like now the World Cup coming up in Berlin in September. So just kind of see like how the international pond is looking, right, and how is every team gonna do, the players who are here and stuff like that. So it's really exciting, and I'm happy that like there's more and more international players as well having the chance to show what they can do. And it's always fun to have so many different cultures and just having teammates, like so mixed, and everybody's learning about each other, the cultures and languages. So I always really enjoyed like having other nationalities around me, and I was always pretty lucky to have that in college as well. And we'll go overseas and stuff, but it's fun. I'm really happy, and it's nice to see that they're doing so well.
And teams are certainly better off with having that variety of talent. I know watching the first half of the season, I'm like, oh my God, who is this player? And I'm like
Yeah,
Googling and researching and
good
doing
one.
research on the players from different teams. And you mentioned that the FIBA World Cup is going to be coming up this year. And you talked about the pride that you have for playing for your national team. How excited are you to be a part of that competition?
I'm super excited. I think that's just something that these past years, especially for our little country, this was something that we really had that eyes on, especially after just not making the Olympics just by this much. We knew like there's gonna be a World Cup again, Eurobasket. There's every single year there's something to compete for, and I think we had so many kind of disappointing like shortings, and we always kind of didn't make it or didn't perform how we wanted. So actually, this year was our chance to kind of get it together, and our qualifiers were in Istanbul, so perfect for me, kind of right at the spot, worked out well. But it was a really tough group for us. I think we had Japan, Canada, Argentina, Turkey, I think Australia. So it was really hard to make the World Cup, and it was really coming down to the wire the last game when we played Turkey, and we had to beat them in Istanbul. So there was a lot of pressure on us, and but on the other side, it was also something like it's not really expected. We haven't been in the World Cup for 26 years, I think, my country. So this is just really showing like our generation is really coming up. I think we have a good, solid core group that is still young. We still have a lot of years together. So it was a huge deal for us after 26 years to make it to the World Cup. And so I'm just super excited to see, obviously, now, like in real time, in a World Cup situation, how far we can go. And I'm excited. It's gonna be fun. Also, my family is gonna come there and just gotta have that support. So yeah, just super proud of them, super proud of the team, and I'm excited.
Dorka, you're making so much history this year. First, with the EuroLeague, the youngest player, now 26 years being able to compete for the World Cup. That's certainly another great thing to be proud of. I want to talk about the Minnesota Lynx and the culture because obviously fans know that it's one of the WNBA teams that are considered a dynasty from, them being able to win. You guys came super duper close in 2024. What do you remember about, that 2024 WNBA finals run?
Yeah, I mean, I just remember it being like a super physical, like obviously game five. So you went to game five, 5 games of really good basketball, just coming down to the wire every single game. Just so many like big shots that both teams made to be there. And actually, we ended up going to the game fives and forced the last game in New York. And even that, coming down to the wire, I think it was just so much fun because that was kind of like the turning year, even just that year when, the stadiums, I mean, the gyms are full, like just so much support, so much excitement about around that finals. It was just really like, I think a game changing moment in general. I think for the WNBA, I felt like after that, like that kind of became the standard, like having sold out arenas and just the competitiveness, and it was so much fun. Obviously it didn't turn out how we wanted it, but it was just two great both teams. I mean, great players, and I think, it was just something that, like, looking back, like, it was just a great run because it was also like kind of the first season with that core players for us to like something that was built and kind of figuring we were figuring out during the season, and to kind of like once the playoff hit, like that's when we felt like the strongest. And it was just great. Obviously, wish it was different and we were the champions. But overall, I mean, I think New York did a great job. They played well and cohesive and stuff. So, yeah, definitely a good memory. And it's just something that kind of, as an athlete, like you have that, like it's like a lot of disappointment you feel after it. You feel sad and all the emotions, but also it's like, okay, we were really close. Like now you want to be even closer. Now you want to be you don't want to be in that situation again. You want to win. So I think it's also like a little bit extra motivation. I think every single person, for every single player and staff member that was there, just to kind of like how painful that was to be that close and still not win. But I think we all learn from it. I think it's, extra motivation, keep working, new team, but kind of the same goals. And obviously our coaching staff knows how to win. They're full of winners. Um, that's the mentality. So, a lot of trust in that, a lot of trust in the system. And, with a new group, we have a chance to kind of start the season and see how much we can grow. And hopefully we can be in that same situation, but come out on the other side. But it was a lot of fun, actually, like the atmosphere and just enjoying that and just the hype about the finals. So, lots of great memories and obviously sad ones as well.
In keeping with the 2024 finals, is there any specific like experience from that run that, kept the team motivated?
I just remember Courtney's shot. Like, I just remembered that moment in New York, like whenever she hit that buzzer beater. And I think that kind of like that moment was like, we were like, okay, we can do, like, we believe we can do whatever. Like she likes to say, believe it, like that kind of stuff. We were like, we for sure believe it. I think that moment was just, like, it was already such a close game, and just hitting that shot, like, kind of was like, wow, like, we're in it, like we're here to win it. So I think that was like just such a strong like story in just that moment. I think everybody was like, all right, that gave us so much like just belief going forward, and just her reaction and just the whole team like going crazy. That was really memorable, I think, for me, but I think for everybody as well. There were a lot more obviously great shots and stuff, but that one was just like so special, especially in New York, and just like the reactions and everything, like, just her being in her bag and everything. Like it was just so much fun. So I think I would say that. I think after that, everybody was just like, okay, We got it.
Courtney's energy is so infectious. It's like and that's a good person to keep the group motivated. I know in 2025 you missed your season with the Lynx, and during that time, she and Atisha Heidemann created the Stud Buds, and it became like this world class, thing, but part of her brand. Have you got caught up in all things Stud Buds?
I followed as much as I could overseas, but as you said, just about Courtney, like she's just such a great, teammate to have around. Like she's always gonna bring energy, and even the tough days, like just coming in, like smiling, like let's get ready, like let's get this working, just having that positive attitude. Like I think every team needs that. Like without like somebody like her, it's like tough days can get really tough, but she's just always so positive and just so easygoing and fun to be around. So it's really great to have her at the team. And I just remember also just the Europeans now like that came in and they're like, oh, like she's always happy, like she's always. I said like that's who Courtney is, and she's gonna be loud. She's taking on that leadership role more and more as well. But even on the hard days, she's gonna be the one that comes in like, why are you guys so quiet? Why is there no music? Just to make sure she's gonna get on the aux, put some music in, just get the vibes going. So it's really special to have her, and obviously her game also talks for herself. Just coming in, making tough shot like those mid range jumpers, like just even now watching it from the side, I'm like wow, just transition no matter where, if it's in the mid range area, also the threes now, but mid range, I'm like. She's gonna make it. Like we don't even have to look at. She's gonna go in. So just a great person to be around. Like great teammate and obviously a great player.
Yeah, when you look up mid-range, Courtney Williams' picture should be right there.
Perfect. Absolutely.
Cheryl Reeve, she's built one of the most respected programs in women's basketball. A lot of people will call her tough. Her style of coaching tough. But what makes her unique as a coach?
I mean, I think she's just a winner. Like she doesn't like to lose. I think that's just something like so strong is a value that she holds that it's like she's gonna find a solution. I feel like, I've been coached by a lot of coaches, obviously, like she's really, really good at like the X and O's. Like, when in doubt, she's gonna draw up a winning play and she's gonna put you in situations to have that shot up and have that chance to win. Not always gonna go in, but I think she's just so good at like finding what the team needs. And as you said, even this season, it's still like a long season to go, and now we're in the top, but there's a lot more work that has to be done. But even just that, with so many new individuals, kind of putting everybody together, different cultures, and hey, like this is what we do. This is what Lynx basketball is. I don't think we're changing much from the past years in terms of style of play. So it's like people just come and buy in and just kind of fit into a system that is not like super like rigid. Like the edges are not rigid. You can be yourself. You can, if you want to break a play, you can break a play as long as, it's the right shot. So I think it's also learning each other kind of what the other players like to do. And I think she's doing a great job of kind of just putting pieces where they have to be, putting players where they want to be, and just giving the opportunity to be successful. And then it's like the player's choice to take it or not take it. But I think she's just a great coach, a winner. And I think that's what they're building as a coaching staff, with all the assistant coaches being winners as well, from players to now being in the coaching staff. So, I think that's obviously she's the mastermind behind it all, and just recruiting the right people, great teammates, great people, great players. I think it's really important for just having that team chemistry, but everybody has to buy in. And I think that's what this team has been doing really well, is buying in. Whatever she draws out, that's what we're going to do and we're going to execute. So it's been going really well. So I'm excited how we can, keep building on it when everybody's healthy and just kind of see where it's going to go.
I think the scariest part for other teams is that you guys are not at full strength right now because you're not back yet. B is not back yet. So it's only going to get better with the pieces that you all have added. Just to wrap this up, Dorka, what do you want fans to know about you as a player, and what can we expect from you this season as you make your way back?
Yeah, I mean, I think I shared a lot about like my values and my story and everything. So I'm just really passionate about that and kind of like my journey. It's never been easy. It's never been like something super predictable, a lot of setbacks and stuff. Another one as I'm going through right now. But one thing is like, I just love basketball. So I'm always with it and always trying to, do my best and be back as soon as possible. So doing my best right now to, hurry back on the court and support the team. But as for expectations, I just looking forward to be healthy, kind of see the adjustments again back to playing a new style of basketball or like coming back to the style of basketball. And yeah, just excited to be back and kind of find my way back to being with the Lynx, helping them as much as I can. But yeah, can't wait to play Lynx basketball again.
Well, Dorka, I know fans are excited to see you make your way back, and I certainly wish you all the best in your journey of recovery. I know they're going to be super excited to see you come back in 2026. Thank you so much for joining us this week on In Case You Missed It.
Thanks for having me.